The Apostle Paul wrote to the church at Rome, and he said this. He said, "I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek." He wasn't ashamed because he knew the very power of God was in the message of what Jesus did on the cross, that He died for the sins of the world, that He was buried, that He arose from the grave. And so he wasn't ashamed. He wanted everyone to know, and he was unafraid to go anywhere, anytime. I remember a number of years ago, I went to what was at that time called Leningrad. It's St. Petersburg today, but it was in the northern part of Russia. And I went there with a friend by the name of Fred Starkweather, and we had a burden just to share with university students about Jesus. And at that time, everything in the university was taught that you were an atheist, and it was very dangerous for Christians at that time. And we went there and we were walking around the university and just praying and saying, "Lord, is there someone here that you would like for us to share Jesus with?" And we looked over and we saw a young man standing there and by himself. So we went up to him, we engaged him in conversation, and he spoke English. And so we were able to talk with him, and we began to share Jesus with him. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, "All of my life I've been taught there is no God. And I've never believed there's a God until 2 weeks ago I was looking into the stars in heaven, and I thought to myself, this could not be an accident. There must be a God." And he said, "I prayed for the first time, and I said, 'God, if you're really real, would you show yourself to me?' And he said, 'I believe God answered my prayer by sending you here today.'" Well, we led that young man to Christ, and he gave his heart to Jesus, and he said, "Would you tell my friends about this?" We said, "We'd love to tell your friends about this." And so he went and got his friends, and they gathered all around. And it wasn't long after that, then 2 agents came up and arrested us, and they took us and they interrogated us for 9 hours. We were interrogated, and I'll never forget sharing that. And I began to wonder what's going to happen to us. And late that night, or the next night actually, they put us on a train, and we didn't know where we were going. The snow was coming down, and we thought, well, we're headed to Siberia. We'll spend the rest of our lives there. We ended up in Helsinki, Finland. But I was thinking that night, was it worth it? Was it worth it to tell one young person about Jesus if I spend the rest of my life in a prison in Siberia? And I came back with this conclusion. Yes, it was worth it. It was worth it for one person to spend eternity with God, with Jesus Christ. Yes, it's worth it. So I want to say to you, don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. What I learned back then in Leningrad, I want you to know it's still true today, that the power of God is in the message of Christ, and you don't have to be ashamed of it.